My guest today is Dr. Tammy Post, author of Project Fabulous, the True Biobalance System, Project Wellness, The Journey to Optimal Health, A Year in My Life, Healthy Ambitions, Tools for Taking Charge of Your Healthcare, and Balancing Act, Achieving a Youthful Hormone Balance. Radio show host of The Naked Doctor, The Naked Truth About Health, Wellness, and Lifestyle, TV show host of Healthy Ambitions, speaker and a bioidentical hormone functional medicine expert. And she's the creator of the BioBalance System. She has created over 20 unique design disease recovery protocols and nutraceutical supplement formulator. She's a weight loss hormone expert and spokesperson and is a board certified family physician and founder of multiple programs of health, wellness, and lifestyle. And as a speaker, she empowers and inspires those who attend her speaking engagements to do something different to achieve the healthy lifestyle they desire. Well, welcome, Dr. Tammy.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to be on here with you today.
Well, of course, you and I had a little conversation when we met, and I heard you are referred to as the queen of hormones, which, of course, is very important to most women. And so why is the understanding of the influence that hormones plays with us, why is it so important to pay attention to them? I mean, we've heard so much about them, but why is it so important?
Well, hormones are the little messengers to our body. It's kind of like little text messages, basically, that tell every process in our body what to do and how to operate. And unfortunately, we have this mixed message from the media and from, the kind of underground that hormones are bad, because what most people do is they go to estrogen and they start thinking about estrogen when they think about hormones. And they have all these horror stories and doctors saying, hormone replacement therapy is bad. So my mission as the queen of hormones is to speak to hormone balance. And hormones are not just estrogen. Even cholesterol is a hormone. Vitamin D is a hormone. Insulin is a hormone. Thyroid, the hormone that regulates your metabolism and dictates whether you gain or lose weight, is a hormone. So I want people to really understand how to maximize all of those hormones and to think of hormone balance as the key to preventing not only cancer and disease, but aging and, all the processes that slow us down. People say, I'm just getting older. Well, no, you're not just getting older. Your hormones are getting unbalanced or your hormones are declining. So being the queen of hormones, I want to spread that message.
That's interesting, because I just had a conversation yesterday. I went to my oncologist for my 6-month checkup, and I said, there's all this talk about hormones and estrogen receptor and so forth and so on. And I said, I really don't know anything about the cancer that I had. I don't know what stage it was. I don't know anything about it. And of course, with my first two, it was so long ago that they didn't talk about that. But my last occurrence was in 2004, and he just looked at my chart and he said, oh, yes, you're estrogen receptive and you were stage 3. Well, nobody told me, and it was interesting because my third case was the smallest and supposed to be the easiest. So who knew all of these things? I mean, it was so unknown to me. So you talk about something called the Love Your Body Transformation. What is that?
Well, it's so hard, I think, for women that have all these messages from the media and from TV about what beautiful is. And, if we don't measure up to what that picture looks like, or we don't look like the girl on the front of, Vogue magazine, we have all these messages and these ways that we say no to ourselves and this negative self-talk. And it's a lot of programming that happens since childhood. And so even if you have the body of your dreams, which I actually experienced this, having all these tools and all these biohacking and what I call biooptimization tools at my disposal, I was able to sculpt out a body that, and I'm not bragging, I'm just saying, it's just the way it works. Once you understand how hormones work and you understand how physiology works, you can pretty much sculpt any kind of body you want. But the interesting thing was I still wasn't happy, and I still didn't feel pretty. And even though, comparably to other women, they'd be like, gosh, I'd kill to have a body like yours. I still didn't love my body. And so out of that was born this process of what I call conscious engineering or conscious creating. And so it's moving through this process of both self-talk and emotional healing, and really encompassing how to embrace who we are as individuals. It's interesting, businesses really build their brand on being better, but most of the businesses out there that do really well have built their brand on being different. So what's unique about you? And what's unique about you is oftentimes the things that make you special, that when you shift your focus on those things that are unique about you, and you can really learn to embrace those, then you can really love your body and love your life and love the skin that you're in, which is very exciting.
Well, it's interesting you talk about these things because, first of all, I have met Dr. Tammy, and she is gorgeous. And number two, that doctors really don't talk to you about these things. So you really don't have a chance to sculpt the body you want unless you really know who to go to. Thirdly, plastic surgeons have shown that, you talked about mindset, that even when they do plastic surgery on people and they do beautiful work, people still are insecure about what their image is. And then there's someone like me who has had 16 surgeries on her chest, and I'm like a walking roadmap. And there are so many things wrong with my body, but nobody has a clue, because I know how to dress, and I know, how to camouflage what's wrong. And of course, my body is completely misshapen, but nobody really knows that. So it's all in so many areas, and I'm glad you're bringing this out, because I think whatever your body is, you need to love it, because that's what you have. So how do you avoid feeling like a victim to maybe what your genetics are, or your health, and the things that happen to us every day?
Well, it's interesting that you brought up the term victim. One of the things that I teach in the Love Your Body transformation is, in that mindset, is there are 4 different stages that we go through in our lives and in our conscious development, and being able to create, because you're either creating consciously or you're creating unconsciously or subconsciously, right? So the things that show up that you don't particularly like, even though you don't really want to claim responsibility for those things, you're still creating that on some level. So how do you shift into that conscious creating? Scientists say that about 10% of our brains are where we consciously create from, and then about 90% is that subconscious creating. So just the stuff that, old programming that just shows up, that we kind of keep doing the same thing expecting a different result. And so that conscious creating, how to shift into more conscious creating, stage 1 is that basically things happen, like it's a caveman mentality. So if you've ever experienced road rage, or you've ever experienced anything that's just, just very reactive, that's very stage 1. And then stage 2 is this learned helplessness, where we think that life happens to you, and it's that victim mentality, and it really just comes from learned helplessness. So it's feeling victim to things like your genetics, or it's feeling victim to not moving forward with abundance in your life. Nobody's showing up and, crowning me the queen of hormones today, so I'm just going to, fall back and, be, lost in the crowd or whatever. Stage 3 is this kind of limitless thought process, this limitless consciousness. And the interesting thing is you only have to get to stage 3 to really create amazing things in your life. And then stage 4 is this unlimited, just this connected with God, connected with each other. And so that process in moving from stage 2, basically being a victim, to stage 3 is just an awareness. And one of the biggest keys that I help people with in that process is to step back and do like the 60,000-foot zoom, and kind of look at all the things that are going right in your life, and, not being a victim to things, and gratitude is a big piece of that. a lot of the things that we think of as stress reduction techniques are kind of built into this moving from that victim stage to stage 3. So that's, just an interesting concept in abundance and in moving into creating the life and the body of your dreams is to stop being a victim. And one of the things that I help people understand, especially with genetics, is that there's something called epigenetics. And we've been programmed to think that because our mothers had cancer, our mothers were overweight, or our mothers had, or our grandmothers, we have a lot of dementia in our family. And so, I had this awareness one day that if I get my hormones balanced and I eat right and I, heal my leaky gut and I take the right supplements, keep my brain active, that epigenetics or our environment plays a much larger role in what happens with those genetic mutations that might show up. So that's kind of a long answer to your question, but kind of 2 things hidden in there is how to not feel like a victim and to consciously create your life. And then once you understand consciously creating your life, how do you move into understanding that you're not a victim to your genetics and you have more control than you can possibly imagine over how you sculpt your body and take charge of your hormones.
Well, you brought up mindset several times, and you also, I know, talk about vision boards. Now, vision boards have always been in my mind for goal setting, as you talk about that, but also to vision how you want your life to be, how you want your work to be, your business, your job, and generally your life. So where does mindset and vision boards, especially the vision boards, come in for what you do and what you teach?
Oh, Dr. Gail, I just got goosebumps. I cannot wait to just share piece with you, and I hope that your listeners will get the same goosebumps and excitement that I feel right now in answering that question. And it's so interesting because I feel like sometimes there's just this, I call it the download from upstairs, God just speaking right through you. So for those listeners who understand like the law of attraction and manifesting abundance and those kinds of things, there's this saying that you get what you think about. You attract what you think about the most. Are you familiar with that saying?
I certainly am.
Okay, good. So I want you to really kind of breathe this into yourselves. We've been taught that we get what we think about, or we manifest our dreams or our goals or that sculpted perfect body that we want based on what we want. Okay, so we're told if we think about it. And so the law of attraction gets a bad rap because people are like, well, I'm thinking about this. I'm making my vision board, and nothing's happening. So here's the key that I really want you to hear. You don't get what you want. You manifest or get what you believe.
Boy, there's a big difference there, isn't there?
There's a huge difference there. And unless you really understand that, it's a subtle thing that will get you way off track. It's kind of that thing where I say you plug in your GPS and you got to be specific. You got to put in, San Diego, not, if you just don't put in California, you'll end up in LA or, it's got to be really specific. So when I say you manifest not what you want, but what you believe, you have to take your belief system to the next level. And the story that I like to tell about this is one time, my mom and I, when I was in my 20s now, I had a lot of hormone issues and I had a lot of estrogen issues, and I had the whole reason that led up to my hysterectomy was fibroids and endometriosis. So I had a huge little belly and hips, and I always felt very hippie, and I kind of learned to dress, like you said, Dr. Gail, I understand that. I learned to dress in ways where it wouldn't accentuate those estrogen hits. And so anyway, my mom and I were in Las Vegas, and we had these photo booth pictures taken where you put your photo on your face on a supermodel's body. Have you ever seen those before?
I haven't, but I can imagine them.
Yeah. So I put my face on this supermodel bikini girl, you know, kind of Sports Illustrated girl in the water, kind of down on all fours. You know, she's just stunning. And